What really happens when beauty collides with heartbreak under Hollywood's harshest lights? These women seemed untouchable, graceful, gifted, adored everywhere they went. On the surface, they lived the dream, flashing smiles, glittering gowns, and the kind of fame most only imagine. But behind that flawless image were love stories darker than any script. Affairs that ended in betrayal, marriages that buckled beneath the pressure of stardom, and secrets the studios fought to keep buried. These aren't the fairy tales Hollywood sold you. They're the painful truths that will forever change the way you see these dazzling icons. So prepare yourself, because once the curtain is pulled back, you'll never look at them the same way again. Florence Ballard. A woman whose voice once lit up the Motown sky, but whose love life became a prison she could never escape. She wasn't just part of the Supremes, she was their heartbeat, the raw soul that turned their songs into R&B anthems. Yet behind the glamour, Florence carried wounds the spotlight never revealed. When the Supremes collapsed in 1968, the stage that had given her life suddenly went dark. In those shadows, an ordinary Motown driver, Thomas Chapman, appeared like a glimmer of hope. His quiet words and gentle presence felt like rescue. By the end of that same year, they were married. Florence prayed it was her second chance. But love quickly turned to torment. Chapman's rage, his jealous interrogations, his cruel words, home became a battlefield. Trapped and broken, Florence sought comfort in the bottle, drowning her pain one glass at a time. From 1970 to 1975, her career unraveled. The woman who once stood at the pinnacle of glory was now gasping for air under the weight of despair. Nights ended in arguments, her soul suffocated by mistrust. Did she even recognize herself anymore? Could she remember what true love once felt like? Their marriage disintegrated in 1971, leaving Florence scarred, her spirit fractured. By 1976, at only 32 years old, Florence Ballard was gone. Alone in her room on a cold morning, sleeping pills scattered on the table, she slipped away in silence. It wasn't just the death of a star, it was the final chapter of a woman who had given everything, yet received only pain in return. Her tragedy wasn't written on the stage but carved into her soul, a reminder that behind the brightest lights often lie the darkest shadows. Dorothy Dandridge, the beauty who broke barriers and paid the price of abandonment. In 1950s Hollywood, she dazzled as the first black woman ever nominated for an Oscar, a symbol of elegance and talent the world couldn't ignore. But behind the glow of the spotlight, her heart carried scars no camera could ever capture. It began in 1942, at Harlem's legendary Cotton Club, where jazz notes floated through the air. There, Dorothy met Harold Nicholas, a dancer whose charms swept her off her feet. Their love blazed fast, and soon they married, dreaming of forever. But forever never came. Rumors of Harold's affairs crushed her innocence. The betrayal became unbearable when he walked away, leaving Dorothy alone with their newborn daughter, Hari Lynn, born with permanent brain damage. Wounded but still searching for love, Dorothy found herself drawn to director Otto Preminger during the making of Carmen Jones. He adored her beauty, whispered promises, and filled her with fragile hope. But Hollywood men often love in shadows. By the late 1950s, he too left, and Dorothy's faith in love slipped away like sand through her fingers. By 1965, the star who once set screens ablaze sat alone in a dim hotel room. The faint glow of a lamp fell across her face as empty pill bottles lay scattered on the table. Whether it was surrender or exhaustion, no one truly knows. That night, Dorothy Dandridge drifted quietly into eternity, her final curtain drawn in solitude. Today, we remember her as a legend of film and song, but few speak of the heavy toll. Dorothy gave her brilliance to the stage, but in exchange, she lost her joy, her love, even her life. When the lights dimmed, all that remained was silence, and the aching memory of a flower that bloomed too beautifully to last. Pam Grier, the woman who reigned as the queen of 1970s blaxploitation films. Fierce, fearless, a symbol of black womanhood carved in steel. On screen, she was untouchable. Off-screen, her heart carried a wound that time could never heal. In the chaotic mid-70s, Pam met Freddie Prinze. He was young, magnetic, and just as restless as she was. Their connection sparked instantly, late-night talks that stretched until sunrise, fiery debates, laughter that filled the walls. But love stories in Hollywood aren't fairy tales. Pam soon saw the shadows Freddie carried. The drugs, the depression, the sudden silences that broke into violent storms. One night, she opened the door to their apartment and froze. Freddie lay slumped on the sofa, an empty bottle clinking across the floor, pills scattered on the table like confetti from a party gone wrong. His chest rose faintly. She panicked, called for help. When the ambulance came, he brushed it off. Just exhaustion. But Pam knew the truth. He was slipping further away. Then came January 29, 1977. The phone rang. His voice was trembling, broken. "I can't take it anymore, Pam. I'm sorry." Before her mind could catch up, the sound exploded through the receiver, a gunshot. And just like that, Freddie was gone. Pam was left with silence, with grief, with questions that would never find answers. She buried her pain beneath her work, throwing herself into her career, building her legend on screen. But no role, no spotlight, no applause could erase the sound of that gunshot or the memory of the man she loved slipping away. Pam Grier, unbreakable to the world, paid the steepest price for love, forever haunted by the echo of goodbye. Natalie Cole carried scars beneath the spotlight. The daughter of the legendary Nat King Cole, she became R&B royalty in the 1970s and 1990s, her golden voice filling the world with timeless songs and Grammy-winning magic. But behind the glamour, her life was tangled in shadows of heartbreak. At the height of her fame, Natalie met Marvin Yancey, a talented producer whose charm lit up the studio. Their love blossomed between midnight recording sessions, sweet promises, and melodies that felt like forever. She believed she'd found safety. But time revealed Marvin's hidden battles, long disappearances, hollow stares, fights over money, and one night, the shocking discovery of his addiction. Natalie shook him awake from the slump of his desk, only to realize their marriage was slipping away. By 1980, she left, but the wound never healed. To numb the ache, Natalie turned to substances. Nights blurred into mornings, exhaustion into despair. The woman who once soared on stage slowly lost herself, haunted by ghosts of the past. Though she fought to reclaim her light, the shadows never let go. In 2015, inside a quiet Los Angeles hospital room, a faint lamp lit her fragile frame. Natalie Cole, the star who once commanded ovations, now lay still, her heart giving way after years of struggle. No applause, no encore, only the ticking of a clock and her final breath dissolving into silence. Her songs lingered in the air like whispers, wrapping her in solitude. She had paid the highest price for love and loss, leaving this world with invisible scars, hidden until the spotlight dimmed for good. Eartha Kitt. A cruel truth revealed the very night she said, "I do." With her sharp, feline eyes and velvet-smooth voice, Eartha was the very picture of allure on the American stage in the 1950s and 60s. To the world, she was untouchable, glamorous, magnetic, unforgettable. But behind the shimmer of sequins and lipstick was a woman carrying invisible bruises, haunted by nights that ended in violence instead of applause. In 1960, she married John William MacDonald, a man seemingly bewitched by her untamed beauty. She dreamed of safety, of a true home after years of wandering. But on their wedding night, the mask slipped. MacDonald, consumed by alcohol, became a storm of rage that turned their house into a battlefield. Eartha was forced into the role of target, enduring the kind of cruelty no spotlight could hide. 4 years she lived in that nightmare, longing to break free, yet bound by love's illusions. In 1964, she finally escaped through divorce, but the wounds ran deeper than any scar. Alone, she raised her daughter with fierce strength, reclaiming her dignity piece by piece. Yet the ghosts of those dark years, sleepless nights, violent echoes, and memories too painful to silence, followed her like a shadow until the very end. Diana Ross, the agony behind the sparkle of a betrayed superstar. As the soaring voice of the Supremes, she was Motown's crown jewel, her beauty and chart-topping hits enchanting millions. On stage, Diana radiated pure magic. But off-stage, her story was one of heartbreak and quiet despair. She first met Berry Gordy when she joined Motown, the man who would shape her rise to stardom. Their love was fiery but fragile. In 1971, Diana gave birth to Rhonda, believing this would finally bind them together. Instead, Gordy pulled away. The cruelest blow came when she discovered he was secretly seeing another young Motown singer, even as she held their newborn in her arms. That betrayal crushed her spirit. Searching for stability, Diana married Robert Silverstein, hoping to build a sanctuary away from Gordy's shadow. But peace never lasted. Gordy's meddling ignited jealousy, endless arguments, and a storm that tore her marriage apart. By 1977, she was divorced, adrift, like a vessel lost at sea. Her career burned brightly, her voice filling arenas and airwaves. Yet behind those sweet, soaring notes lived the scars of a woman who loved deeply but was left with loneliness. Diana Ross remained a legend on stage, but in love, she carried wounds the spotlight could never heal. Whitney Houston. She was the voice of an angel, the queen of pop who made the world stop and listen. With timeless hits like I Will Always Love You, she carved her name into music history, reigning through the 80s and 90s with unmatched beauty, power, and grace. But behind the glittering crown was a storm, love, fame, and demons that wouldn't let her rest. In 1989, at the Soul Train Music Awards, she met Bobby Brown. Sparks flew, and what began as passion soon turned into a dangerous fire. They married in 1992, but the fairy tale soured quickly. The man she adored became the man who broke her. Control, violence, and addiction consumed their union. By 2003, Bobby's arrest for assault revealed to the world what Whitney had long endured. The dazzling star who once owned every stage was fading in front of our eyes. On February 11, 2012, the unthinkable happened. Alone in a hotel bathroom, Whitney Houston slipped away in a bathtub, her voice silenced forever. It was a heart-shattering end to a life filled with both brilliance and torment. Her death wasn't just the loss of a music legend, it was a haunting reminder of the steep price of fame and the fragile promises of love. Lena Horne, a legacy of love and heartbreak. Lena Horne wasn't just a star, she was a symbol. In the glittering world of the 1940s and 1950s, she reigned as one of Hollywood's brightest icons, her beauty and voice breaking barriers and redefining black artistry. But behind the spotlight and applause, her love life was scarred by pain, betrayal, and relentless battles. In 1937, she married Lewis Jones, believing she had found her forever. Instead, her dream turned into a nightmare. What began with love quickly dissolved into violence. From 1938 to 1943, Lena endured years of abuse, beatings, harsh words, and emotional torment that left invisible scars deeper than any wound. Walking away saved her life, but the shadow of that marriage never left her. When love returned in the form of Lenny Hayton, a white musician, Lena faced a different storm. Their relationship wasn't just love, it was defiance. In an America poisoned by racism, their union sparked outrage. Her family objected. Society sneered. The couple faced threats, cruel stares, and the icy rejection of colleagues who couldn't accept a black woman and a white man together. For Lena, every kiss was both a victory and a reminder of the world's cruelty. Decades later, after a trailblazing career, Lena Horne passed away quietly in New York on May 9, 2010, at the age of 92. Though her voice silenced, her legacy lived on. A woman who carried not only the glamour of the stage but also the heavy scars of love, racism, and resilience. Diahann Carroll was the very picture of elegance. A beauty symbol whose private happiness always seemed just out of reach. Rising to fame in the 1960s and 1970s with her groundbreaking role in Julia, she became a legend of Hollywood glamour and talent. But behind the spotlight, her love life was marked by heartbreak. In the early 60s, she shared a passionate affair with Sidney Poitier, yet their romance collapsed when Poitier refused to leave his wife. That betrayal left Diahann with a wound she could never quite heal. Seeking stability, she later married singer Vic Damone, but instead of peace, she endured years of domestic abuse. By 1996, the marriage crumbled, leaving her once again alone. Though her career sparkled with awards and acclaim, true happiness in love always slipped through her fingers. In her later years, Carroll carried the weight of painful memories and the scars of broken relationships, even as she continued to shine in the public eye. On October 4, 2019, at the age of 84, Diahann Carroll passed away in Los Angeles after a long battle with breast cancer. Her death closed the chapter on a legendary life, but perhaps also freed a soul that had borne far too many scars. Nichelle Nichols, the pain of a forbidden love. Nichelle Nichols was more than a singer and actress. She was a trailblazer. As Lieutenant Uhura in Star Trek, she became a symbol of black pride and feminism in the 1960s and 70s. But behind the glamour and history-making role, she carried a secret, the weight of a forbidden love. When Nichelle first stepped onto the Star Trek set, she met Gene Roddenberry, the visionary who created that universe. From the moment their eyes locked, an unspoken bond grew. What began as late-night talks and stolen glances soon blossomed into something deeper, a love too powerful to deny, yet impossible to claim. Gene was already married, and so their passion lived in the shadows. Backstage whispers, fleeting touches, shared smiles in the dark, these were the only places their love was allowed to breathe. But as the years passed, reality cut deep. Gene would never leave his family. Their love, though fierce and undeniable, became an unfinished song, a dream she had to tuck away. Nights of solitude turned into silent tears as Nichelle learned to carry both the sweetness and the sorrow of what could never fully be. When Gene died in 1991, Nichelle stood quietly apart. She could not mourn as a wife, nor even as a friend. Her grief had no place, no stage. Instead, she said goodbye in silence, her heart breaking under the weight of a love that history would never acknowledge. And so she lived on, alone with her memories. Memories that comforted her even as they haunted her, reminders of a love so powerful it had to remain hidden forever. A love that never spoke its name, yet burned in her heart until the very end. Ruby Dee. A woman whose brilliance on stage and screen was matched only by the quiet wound she carried in her heart. The star of A Raisin in the Sun lived an extraordinary artistic life, but behind the applause and the spotlight, she wrestled with pain that never fully healed. In 1948, she married Ossie Davis, a gifted actor whose charm made their union the envy of many. Together, they built a marriage that looked unshakable from the outside. But in the 1960s, rumors of Ossie's infidelity surfaced. At first, Ruby tried to silence the whispers, clinging to denial. But soon the truth became impossible to ignore. Ossie confessed, leaving Ruby to face a devastating reality. Though wounded, Ruby chose forgiveness over separation. With courage and dignity, she rebuilt her life beside him. Together, they endured, creating art, raising a family, and standing side by side in the fight for civil rights. Yet deep inside, Ruby carried a scar only she could feel. When Ossie passed away in 2005, Ruby was left with a mix of treasured memories and lingering sorrow. She continued to give her soul to the arts, but the weight of regret never fully lifted. In 2014, Ruby Dee took her final bow. Her life was a story of triumph and heartbreak, of love that endured yet left behind a wound that never closed, a love song unfinished, echoing with both forgiveness and pain. Esther Rolle was more than just a TV mother, she was the storm and the shelter under her family's roof. In the 1970s, she became a powerful symbol of Black womanhood, embodying strength and dignity as Florida Evans on Good Times. On screen, she was resilience itself. But behind that radiant smile, Esther carried wounds no camera could ever capture. In 1955, she married Oscar Robinson, a man she thought would be her safe harbor after years of struggle. They were two souls bonded by hardship, dreaming of peace together. But by 1957, that dream was shattered. One night, in a small, rain-soaked room, an argument over money spiraled into violence. Esther, trembling in a corner, faced a man whose eyes burned with rage instead of love. His words cut like knives, and his hands left bruises deeper than flesh. The years that followed were marked by the same torment, pleas unheard, pain unrelenting. Through the 1960s, she tried to hold the marriage together, but the abuse never stopped. By 1973, Esther chose survival over suffering. She walked away, carrying her scars in silence while her career soared. Yet even as applause filled theaters and television screens, her private sorrow lingered. When she passed in 1998, she left behind more than a legacy of artistry. She left a haunting question. Why must a woman so strong, so talented, endure such pain in the shadows while the world only saw her light? Nell Carter, When Love Turned into Hell. Nell Carter, the dazzling Broadway star with a smile that could light up a room, carried invisible scars far beyond the stage. In 1982, she married George Kronicki, hoping love would bring her the peace her career never could. But George's battle with alcoholism soon turned that dream into torment. One night in 1983, after a party, his rage spiraled out of control. The music thumped through the walls, drowning out Nell's muffled cries as she tried to plead with him. It was useless. George's face, shadowed by fear and fury, hovered over her as she collapsed to the floor, tears streaking her face, her spirit shattered by the man she trusted most. The years that followed only sank darker. George's addiction grew worse, dragging Nell into depression's heavy grip. By 1992, the marriage was broken beyond repair, but the emotional wreckage lingered. Nell never truly escaped the shadow of that pain. In 2003, her body, worn down by years of suffering and complications from diabetes and heart failure, gave out. Her passing felt like a fading star vanishing from the night sky, leaving behind a haunting emptiness in the hearts of those who loved her brilliance. Tamara Dobson, tall, fierce, unforgettable. In the 1970s, she stood as the very symbol of black feminism, commanding the screen as Cleopatra Jones, a woman who could not be broken. But behind the power and glamour lived a heart far more fragile. In 2003, when multiple sclerosis struck her down, Tamara believed she had found her anchor in a man whose identity remains a mystery to the world. At first, he was her rock, holding her hand, whispering promises, and vowing to face the storm with her. She trusted him. She believed their love could withstand anything. But as her illness worsened, those promises began to crumble. The man who once never left her side slowly disappeared. By 2004, she was left waiting, staring at the door that would never open again. Calls grew fewer, visits stopped altogether, and by 2005, he had abandoned her completely, just when she needed him most. The woman who had once embodied strength on the silver screen was left to battle unimaginable loneliness in her final days. On October 2, 2006, Tamara Dobson passed away, carrying with her the ache of betrayal and the silence of a love lost. She left behind not only the image of a warrior but also a haunting question. How could someone so strong, so talented, be forced to endure such heartbreak alone? Juanita Moore. A night of destiny that shattered a heart forever. In the 1950s and 60s, Juanita Moore stood tall as one of Hollywood's most respected black actresses. Her unforgettable, Oscar-nominated performance in Imitation of Life made her a symbol of both grace and resilience. But behind the strength the world admired lived a woman scarred by a love story that ended too soon. In 1953, Juanita found what she believed was true happiness in Charles Bourrousse, a kind and compassionate man who understood the struggles of being black in Hollywood. Introduced through friends, their connection was instant. To Juanita, Charles wasn't just a partner, he was her safe haven, the man she believed would walk beside her through every storm. Their days together were filled with laughter, shared dreams, and a promise of forever. But forever never came. On the night of November 14, 1953, Juanita's world collapsed with a single phone call. Police informed her that Charles had been killed in a horrific car accident. His vehicle had plunged off the road, leaving Juanita in stunned silence. The man who had been her anchor, her greatest joy, was gone in an instant. The loss consumed her. Juanita withdrew into herself, pouring her grief into her craft. Her performances grew richer, deeper, every role carrying the weight of her sorrow. Yet no amount of applause could erase the ache in her heart. The memory of Charles lingered like a wound that refused to heal. Though she appeared strong on screen, off-camera Juanita battled an unimaginable loneliness. She lived with that heartbreak until her passing in 2014, carrying with her the scars of a love story interrupted by fate. Her tragedy reminds us of a painful truth: beauty and brilliance often come hand in hand with suffering. Like so many gifted women of her era, Juanita gave everything to her art, but what she received in return was loss, betrayal, and solitude. So we ask you, why must those who shine the brightest often endure the darkest pain? Thank you for watching. Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more untold stories.